Alright, Walpurgisnacht. I'm trying to get everything. Hopefully, I can use the agility to get some announcers, and also hopefully get whatever characters I didn't get from any of the regular banners. Without further ado, Ollie. Oh, I have that many tickets of the fuck. I love this game. So easy to play that kind of stuff. Ollie. Still pretty depressing if I don't get anything.
조종, 부고를 전하겠소. 이 처참한 보와 호접이 그대를 화장할지니. 그 후로 아무것도 남지 않으리.
Nice.
알아, 오느라 힘들었지? 여기서 잠깐 쉬어.
Double E.G.O.
쳐다만 봐도 따스해질 테니까.
I think this is my luckiest pull yet. 2 E.G.Os in one. Holy shit, that's amazing. 2 E.G.O. Crazy. Oh, all that's left are the 2 identities. Maybe I'll get something.
나에게서 이름을 묻진 마렴. 비나라는 건 이름이 아니란다. 이곳, 이 수많은 무덤이 있는 공간의 슬픈 이름이지. 나는 그저 우물을 깃는 자. 이번엔 무엇을 내게 길어올리라 부탁하려고 이곳으로 온 거니?
Isn't it harder to get announcers than IDs? I could be wrong. Another Bina. Well, I guess I am wrong. 2 Binas in a row. Rolling. Alright. Green. Come on, give me something. Dang. I got the wrong Dawn Office fixers. Announcer is 1.3. Identity is 2.9. Huh. Am I getting gold? Let's hope it's something new. Damn, Twin Hawks. I didn't even know you guys still existed. Gold? Nothing new. I don't know if I reach my ideality, so no, I should keep rolling until I at least get one of the other one, right? Then I finish up and I use the ideality to get the other one. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. Got that. It wouldn't make sense to like choose one from pity and then hope to get the other one through the gacha. So until I get one or the other, I'll keep rolling. And I will never stop. Ever. Oh, finally a green. Oh, it's a good green. Alright. What the fuck? I'm getting scammed. Two beans. Good to know that I've secured one of the IDs, I guess. So the worst possible outcome now is if I reach 400 without getting a single ID. 100 pools with nothing. Go. Alright. Eh. At least get me something I don't have. There's so many announcers that I don't have. Doesn't even feel nice, even with all this lunacy saved up. I guess. How else is it gonna work?
오, 쌍화차인가? 아, 오늘따라 차의 맛과 향이 진해서 좋구만. 이번에도 노른자는 한가운데 잘 띄어놨군 그래?
A lot of honky. Nice. I can get the other one through here. Unless I've decided to keep on rolling for the other one. And hopefully, I don't know, I use the ability to get an announcer I don't have. Maybe get 2 announcers I don't have. Ooh, the possibilities are endless. Until Faust. Let's go. Oh, 400 I did. That's, I cannot stomach any more pain than that. 11 more pools.
검정색 바늘, 비정형적 문양. 역시 파우스트의 예상대로 이번 사건의 배우는 그자였던 것 같군요.
Very nice. Now with this, I shall get your boy.
왔다, 또 희한한 일이 하나 들어와시야. 그게 이름을 말하고 엄지애들 부리딛기 말하면 된다 이것이야? 그러면 뇌횡 내놓을 이름은 이것뿐이지. 값없이 이름으로 부를 놈은 많지는 않겠지만.
Oh yeah. I think I'll keep going to get the next 200. Because at the very least, I think after this banner, the season ends. So I still need to like clear this roster of characters I don't have. And I, well, at least need their shards, if nothing else. I do hope I can get them to my next 80 pools. So, good. At least one. What? That was a new screen, I think. I don't recall a shift that looked like that anymore. Clean. Birch, what the hell are you doing there? Ice cream and announce I don't have. They really don't want me to get anyone new, huh? It is what it is. I'll just shard them. As for the new announcer, bamboo-headed Kim or Kira? Yeah, screw it, I'll take Kira.
이거 하면 내 만화책 진짜 돌려주는 거 맞지? 너 분명 그 안경 걸고 나랑 약속했다. 좋아, 그 전투 테스팅가 뭔가 하는 거 구경이나 해보자. 좀 치고받고 싸우는 거라도 보면 덜 지루하겠지.
I'll see if I'm knowing what bamboo-headed Kim sounds like in the Bogart. Well, I need to clear all of this.
말을 길게 끌 것 없겠군요. 그레고르 싱클레어, 바로 시작하죠.
Yeah, try to shoot me. It has been determined that this case merits preservation as a record. The following is the case record pertaining to today's request. Case name 1000 Needles. Serial code DN-00113. Great urban legend. Oh, I thought it was a nightmare. The case has now developed to a point where assigning codes beginning with A- to the victims no longer serves any practical purpose. Catastrophic propagation via a series of random chain reactions would be an appropriate description for the nature of this case. As such, it would be both inefficient and impossible to assign individual serial codes to every victim scattered throughout history. Damn. The circumstances surrounding the case align with both the information gathered from rumors and the case report compiled by Representative Gregor of the Dawn Office. Now briefly recording the state of the case scene. Sections of the building have been liquefied, and beneath the damaged structure, traces in the form of human remains can be observed. Many of the victims' remains are no more than distal extremities of the human body. By contrast, it is rare to find torsos and internal organs that maintain even a moderate resemblance to their original forms. Given this fact, it is reasonable to infer that the prevailing cause of death in this case is something of an explosive nature. Remaining bits and pieces of human flesh also indicate that the said explosion was accompanied by countless shrapnel tearing the bodies inside out. Force determined that all of these observations indeed point to a single property: omnidirectional fragmentation of this pitch black matter from within the body. A presentation identical to that of prior cases. The matter is abnormally dense compared to its mass. Its material strength is also unnaturally high. Merely touching the surface of the wall permits the matter to drill through it with negligible resistance. Immediately after making contact, the matter begins to melt an area several times larger than the point of contact. It is difficult to believe that such a material could have been produced by the human body. It is certain that this matter is identical to the one currently under Faust's investigation as an object of interest, designated as needles. Yes, that is correct. Symbols of an irregular, atypical pattern which Faust has repeatedly received on-site verification requests for are present on the material. Now cross-referencing this observation against Faust's information. No matching information found. In that case, the minority hypothesis, which alleges that the symbol points to a malicious advertisement attempt by a certain upstart workshop, may be dismissed as false. Now moving on to the next proposed hypothesis, yesterday's promise and demonic magic. Has the presently recorded case scene yielded any verifiable fact that substantiates the said hypothesis? Understood. Faust recalls having stored a piece of information regarding the body of a corporate employee found in the back streets. A victim of the so-called gut harvesting, the corpse also bore a much similar symbol. Gut harvesting refers to the criminal act of the backstreet syndicates by which corpses are stripped off of anything considered to have monetary value. Fausts who limit themselves to observing best sourced information may have been unsuitable participants in the discussion of this particular subject. Magic. It strains the realm of believability, but if such an incomprehensible phenomenon does indeed exist, perhaps this would be one of the many by which it is manifested. Balloons popping would be the closest approximation. The radius of the damage is far too great for such a seemingly weightless impact force. Does the entity designated as yesterday's promise truly employ a power that may be termed as magic? Perhaps access to some more pieces of information would help Faust track together the truth of the matter. Yes, of course, Faust is aware that access to any information beyond this point is prohibited. However, it is an established fact that the entity's ability concerns contracts, in which case working as a fixer would bring Faust closer to an answer. Understood, then the discussion regarding this record will conclude here. Faust will need to head to the office and submit the report. Sinclair said he had something he wished to say to Faust once this was over. However, it appears Faust will not be able to hear it. Oh yeah, I forgot. Philip and her buddy. Now it's Sinclair and Faust. What? The dynamics. And it seems probable that this will be Faust's final record. Current location, the library, as per the popular denomination. Correct, this is the same place that has recently been reclassified as an urban plague. Faust confirms that writing one's name on the invitation alone is sufficient to transport the invitee to this place. This record is best shared with the other Faust in advance. Access rights received. Faust cannot help but notice that access is granted to Faust when it is already too late. Would that mean? No, please disregard that. Concentrating on the battle at hand would be more rational. Yes, the opponents seem determined to make Faust their initial target. It is unlikely that Faust will be able to fend off the entirety of their focused offense. They are killing themselves merely by grabbing pebbles in their hand. Faust hears a song, or perhaps just an echo. The mind feels as though it were shaking and staggering just by hearing the sound. I think this is one of the E.G.O that the floor uses or something. Is this an attack launched by utilizing the properties of abnormalities? If so, what could this plague possibly do? I feel like she's fighting Nexarch's flaw. Though I find this development disappointing, I should think of this as a fortunate outcome that has availed me the opportunity to leave an account at the very least. Because even should this Faust fail here, the grand objective of Faust must be preserved at all costs. Faust only has one wish, to know all of the city. Ending record. Is that that's a reveal, right? Yeah, we never knew what Faust's motivations are. Now she wants to know. Now we're aware that she wants to know all of the city. Interesting. But to what end? Just wants to become like the next library or something, I guess. Gregor.
그럼 그렇게나 많은 죽음을 머금고 편하게 마무리 지을 수 있을 거라고 생각했나? 이번엔 정말 각오하는 게 좋을 거다, 애송이.
It's bitter. With every breath I took, the acrid air around me burned my throat. Cries of pain, sorrow, and fear rang out from every direction, and other indescribable horrors overwhelmed my senses as the thick blanket of smoke squeezed the oxygen out of the air. The smoke permeated everything, even in fields of battle packed full with the spray of blood and scattering shrapnel. Clashing blades and bullets whizzing past, the comrades and enemies both, the miasma found the cracks to suffuse. We used to call it stench, the scent of humans. Oh, here comes my daily fix. Let me set it on your table, master. It's hot. You don't want to burn yourself. Listen, kid. There's really no need to baby me like that. Years have passed since that smoke left its final mark on my memory, and now I'm leading a small fixer office where I nurture and train pupils of my own. I wonder what my younger self would think if he saw me as I am now. Could he ever have imagined this kind of life? The kind of prosaic, peaceful life where I get to sit in a cool air-conditioned room and sip on a pleasantly warm cup of sangwa cha my people brewed. He has a point, Sinclair. Perhaps it'd be best for your career prospect if you redirected the focus of your endeavors onto tasks that more befit the responsibilities of a fixer, rather than that of a tea brewer. Brewing sangwa cha can't possibly be so important a task that you would spend the time every morning to carefully analyze your superior's mood and choose which toppings would suit his palate. But well, still, I think I'm pretty good at it, so could he have imagined the kind of sedate life where I get to enjoy a hearty chuckle every now and then, watching the shenanigans unfold as my pupils passive-aggressively throw jabs at one another about what are ultimately frivolities? Oh, guys. No, how could he? After all, how could he lose himself daydreaming when even a split second of distraction would mean certain death? Oh yeah, you just got back from that contract, didn't you? The Urban Legend class request. Yes, I have completed the request regarding the 1,000 needles. Wow, you're impressive. Solving an Urban Legend class request all on your own? The target posed an increasingly substantial threat as it mounted a more aggressive resistance toward the end. But, I had a question regarding the contract, Herr Gregor. For me, what is it? As the name 1,000 Needles would suggest, I was presented with ample opportunities to collect and examine some black needles at the scene. Bearing those symbols, I presume? Correct. Symbols with a yellow glow, to be precise. Its patterns were analysed next to symbols used by various workshops that marked their output, but no exact match was identified. Imitating stigmas, product branding's all the rage these days. There's been an uptick in workshops marking their products, leaving their symbols in the aftermath of the battle. Got me worried for a sec. Maybe they become so money grabbing that they started sponsoring all kinds of maniacs out there. But with this, there's one load off my mind. Though it isn't as bad as it used to be, the city is losing what warmth it had by the hour. The proverbial winter starting to set in its denizens lately. I like to think I've seen my fair share of the worst the city had to offer, but day after day the increasingly bizarre and out there incidents find their way to shake and shock me anew. If there was any warmth at all, its temperature was rapidly dropping to what could be described as nothing else but frigid. Still, the optimist in me says it's not all bad, but we, as a collective, haven't quite reached the line we mustn't cross, and I find solace in that. Then again, you never know. Maybe there are folks out there, people already too far gone and have crossed the line and then some, but as long as they didn't make it my business by invading this cozy little space I've got with my students, I don't think I want to concern myself with those things too much. Sponsorships. I didn't know workshops did that. You did not? Odd. Gregor is the proverbial poster child of workshop-sponsored fixers. What? Can't blame Sinclair for not knowing. It's not like I have a habit of harping on about old times. I posit the argument that any sentence that begins with "back in my day" that you are so fond of counts towards the conventional definition of harping on about old times. In that case, could you tell us a little bit about your past? I know you're a very prestigious fixer, master, but I never had the opportunity to hear about what exactly you've done to earn that reputation. Yeah, maybe the stories of those days are better shared in a light-hearted conversation. Just something to be mentioned in passing. Enough time has passed now anyway. I've been using Stigma workshop weapons throughout my career from the day I first started working in this business. Now, if you ask whether they were the best workshop weapons among all the ones I've browsed, trying to find a weapon that will keep me company through thick and thin? No, they weren't exactly all that. Then why did you decide to go with a Stigma workshop weapon, master? Well, I could say there was the matter of my thin, hungry wallet, but more importantly, big name workshops out there don't let anybody walk right in just because they come knocking on their doors. Gotta keep your clientele more distinguished, if you know what I mean. In other words, more well-known workshops weren't all that eager to take a commission from some no-name grade 9 fixer. What? Roland, is that you? Even if he had the coin for it, which he didn't. Fortunately for me, Stigma Workshop was a relatively unknown back in the day with a more niche audience, which meant that they had no qualms letting a greenhorn like me purchase a decently high quality weapon. Anyway, while the partnership was coincidental, it ended up with being a win-win. I kept racking up successful contracts, and Stigma Workshop reaped the subsequent renown and a new swath of customers. And as a token of gratitude, they were generous enough to offer personalized upgrades to my weapon. Aha, so that's why all of our weapons are. You catch on quick, kid. It's all thanks to my connections that Stigma Workshops allowed a young chickling like yourself to wield one of their quality weapons. It seems that our office rarely tires of self-aggrandizing behavior. though one cannot deny the veracity of that claim. Anywho, the claim say they really saved my bacon more than a few times in the smoke war. It's the same with any war, I'm sure, but for the boots on the ground foot soldiers, survival was the only thing that mattered. The more surefire way to guarantee survival would have been to stay as far away as I could from the war, but that wasn't an option for nest-born fixers like myself. Some battlefields were so dire that even association fixers had to struggle through fight after fight with broken, malfunctioning weapons and worn-down outfits. But because I was sponsored by Stigma Workshop, every time my SWAT needed maintenance, they provided it for free of charge and even threw in a series of upgrades. Back then too, I was a part of a detachment. Perhaps a rather too grand a name for what really was a hastily assembled group of fixers with even the remotest preparations against the damage of fire and heat in the war. We were a bunch of ragtag soldiers at best, but I won't deny that there was an air of unwarranted confidence among us, given that all we needed to do was burn up a pair of wings. But that day, on that hill, Liu Association, Dependable Section Director. We ain't falling back here, push the line forward. Infestation zone clear, regroup, and rendezvous with the Section Director and calling all recruited office fixers. We can do this together. Our right flame wall needs reinforcement. A monstrosity of evasive abilities bordering on precognition and offensive capabilities that, if a single hit, would all but guarantee instant. There was one of the decisive weapons of E.G.O, and Liu Association was selected specifically to handle it. I was probably stronger than each individual Liu fixer, but one set of wings reduced to ashes. Just one more push and don't let your guard down, team. Stay alert. Looks like we might actually have a chance. There's really no point in measuring individual merit when it comes to Liu fixers. The moment an all-out battle began, they came together with combined fluidity not unlike that of a single organism, a dragon charging through the enemy forces under the Section Director's command. And it wasn't long before their flames dominated the entire battlefield. For a moment, the situation seemed so favorable that I began to hope we might defeat this foe without needing reinforcements. And with how things looked, this enemy was definitely on its back foot. We would be able to seize victory with just a little more effort. Enemy altitude's down, but velocity remains constant. Its erratic movements haven't slowed at all either, Director, goddamn bug. Its airborne vertical maneuverability won't be diminished much, even if we somehow manage to burn all of it. I see, the point of this operation was to prevent high-speed airborne escape. But whatever possible scenario we could come up with based on common sense did not apply to a decisive weapon of a wing. Lord of Flies is back. This is the famous flame of Liu? Slower than I imagined. The raging, seemingly impenetrable wall of fire flickered as it does, inadvertently revealing the most minuscule of openings, and the monster's eyes caught sight of two fixers. And in the blink of an eye, they were gone. Before most of the fixers could even comprehend what had happened, I ran desperately to block the beginnings of a growing rupture in the formation. Hey, it's right above you, swing it! You swung, but with a curious delay. Was he your favorite? You. Director, don't let that monster get to you. Calm yourself and read. Once a crack begins to split open, it only grows into a rift. Without moving one and fluid motions, the flames will scatter into mere cinders, no longer emerge as a flame dragon. The monster turned the tide, taking cover behind the fire and heat haze that obscured not only its vision but ours too. Fixers of mediocre abilities scattered across the battlefield served only as hostages or missions for the monstrosity. Before we could even complete our initial goal of burning its wings, haha, E.G.O bastards, that's what the hell have you created? Director! The Lord of Flies descended upon the dragon's head and crushed it to a pulp. Our forces were minutes away from complete annihilation. I had to do something, so I ran up to the front of the line around. Regroup here, to me! You know who I am, we even had a quick meet and greet, remember? All of you are now under my command, focused entirely on providing me support, and I swear I'll burn that fucking vermin's remaining wings to ash. You're not our section director, we work with him best, I doubt you can fill his boots. Maybe, but me, we're not exactly flush with options, are we? No, guess not. Fine, we'll march a few, lead us. The world was on fire and we were trapped in a flaming cage. The sky above was nothing but pitch black darkness, smoke from fires and smoke that smelled of humans mingle, creating a horrible crimson eye of a noxious storm I could hardly describe in any fitting words. but I was the leader on the hill now, and so I imitated the dragon's head to the best of my abilities. I may not have been the guy to fill the section director's boots, and I was only flying by the seat of my pants. But by having a small army of fixers following my flew and releasing bursts of flames at just the right moments, my firepower grew twice as powerful. I alone blazed in the glow of the falling sun amidst the burning field of the infestation zone. With the Lu fixers behind me, I felt like I could measure up pretty well against even the legendary Vermilion Cross himself. But the Vermilion Cross mentioned? What? You mean the frog? But the bodies kept piling and piling. At a certain level, simple numerics like how many augmentations you have or what grade your gear is don't decide the outcome. This is where the other previously neglected factors come into play: their training routine, the kinds of effort they put into it, the matchup between fighters, the battlefield, and the circumstances that might or might not give you an edge. We lasted pretty long for sunset, didn't we? We kept on fighting even in this pitch black night. Eventually, I was the only one standing against that monstrosity of a foe. The Lord of Flies did not appear even remotely winded, as though he were drawing from an infinite pool of energy. The situation seemed rather hopeless, but I was young at the time and still had that youthful streak of rebelliousness burning somewhere within me then, because I wasn't ready to sit down and let death take me. I gathered whatever strength I had left in me, all the muscle memory, all the training I've done up to that moment, and held it all in one hand. Hey, Flybird. I don't know if you've been keeping track of the time. The sun will be peeking over the horizon soon. Just look at how the faintest blue is starting to encroach into the black night. The fixer at the crack of dawn. Heralding the crack of dawn. The heated blade draws a beautiful pattern as it cleaves through the space before me under the distant sky. But the reach of my blade is too short to strike the monster. It evades to the side with ease and regurgitates a stream of corrosive fluid, and it lands right on my sword arm, melting it, eating through flesh and bone. Oh, okay. You know what they say, that it's darkest before the dawn. But it's pretty bright out here now, isn't it? I could feel its fluid spreading, eating away at my torso from shoulder to hip. But at the same time, so does the space my purest resolve and sword has ranked through. Its sundered fabric melting away as though by flame, and the fly swings that were touching the very tip of my blade's arc fall apart, its slight segments melting away. Now that I didn't see coming. But what will you do now? It seems you are now out of option. I didn't quite imagine it happening like this, but at least they made it in time for the sunrise. Say hello to my reinforcement, and you're deaf. Weakling. Though the battle was fierce, all we managed to do at the end of the day was cut off its means of escape. And the reinforcement command decided to send out was but a single combatant to face this insurmountable foe who was still armed with unpredictable movements and a seemingly bottomless well of stamina. I'd be lying if I said the realization didn't hit me with a wave of disappointment and a profound sense of futility. Hey, don't you know who I am? I'm going to assume it's Valentina. But nobody who's fought even a single skirmish in this battlefront wouldn't recognize the woman who just marched up to the battlefield with a cigar smoke billowing in the wind. Yep. I guess it's more towards... Well, I want to say it's like Rhodia, but we don't know if they're like in the same alternate reality, some shit. She's the same person who survived the brutal gauntlet of a duel after duel that mercilessly cut down a number of promising futures, namely that of the Great One Fixer, who was a popular candidate for the title of a Color Fixer, the rising right hand of a Soto Capo, and others whose prospects were just as golden, and emerged victorious one battle after another monster of another nature. I guess it is interesting that this was the Leo Association, and then after they got down, then they sent a syndicate, a single member to go with. There are times that they work together, I suppose. Well, it is war after all. Of course I do. I've seen the way you fight. After leaving everything in her hands, I returned to our encampment in the back lines and had my injuries treated. And surrounded by the roaring cheer of spectators, I got to watch a recording of her battle against the Lord of Flies, The footage slowed down by several dozen times, the only way the video could have captured the way the two combatants sped and zoomed around each other. In that footage, it seemed as though the reinforcement managed to behead the Lord of Flies, killing instantly before it even realized it was dying. As it turns out, if you kill a lot of flies before it even registers its own death, it won't have the chance to spawn the maggot prince. It was a shame that so much of the work we did to prepare to counter the maggot prince went to waste, but thanks to the Stigma Workshop's symbol set on the back of the Lord of Flies and with the witness reports from Leo fixers who managed to survive the massacre, they recognized me as a major contributor to the success of that operation. Gregor? Ah, sorry, must have gotten lost reminiscing. Anyways, apparently burning the monster's wings ended up with one hell of a promotion for Stigma Workshop. You fellas better learn to appreciate me because I'm the only reason they're still offering weapon sponsorship to our office even in my semi-retirement. Not to mention how the connections I made that then got us the position of a Leo Association's affiliate office. Whoa, you really are amazing, Master. Amazing? Come on. I'm just a washed up fixer with a broken body that never fully healed. Damages caused by the Lord of Flies' extremely corrosive fluid would have been difficult to recover from, even with a K-Cop ampule of fairly high purity. It is likely that his nerves failed to fully regenerate. Yeah, I guess so. Still, it's all thanks to that one ampule I got for outstanding valor that I'm still alive and kicking after all this time. Remember, those ampules were even rarer back in my day. Well, kinda weird that the lady who slayed the decisive weapon isn't in the news at all nowadays though. Haven't heard much about her myself in a long while. She sure didn't seem the type to get herself killed unceremoniously too. Well, she's probably enjoying herself in a comfy seat lording over peons like us. Anyways, how's that for harping on about old times? Had enough yet? I threw a light-hearted jab as I picked up a piece of paper that's been on my desk for a while today related to our next contract. Is that the object that's had the fixer industry abuzz lately? You got that right, this is what our next contract will be about. They said my Zwei alum's death is connected to this contract too. Walter? Walter, no! Oh no, I'm sorry for your loss, Master. I can't imagine what you're going through. My heart's unscathed, kid. I was never fond of that fella. The question is, have you heard anything about this object, Sinclair? Something they call the library's invitation. Oh, he's gonna hear about it. A lot of time. Like, so many times. Holy shit, you can stop. Okay. I was kinda hoping for there to be a story event related to this event. But I suppose they needed more time to prepare for Canto 10. So instead of that, the new characters are nice. Well, the next time I guess.